Everyone. All right. Hey there, everyone. Hope everyone's Friday is going well. GMGM or GNGN, depending on where you are in the world today. We have a really exciting Twitter space coming up, and we've got some awesome guests from Ultiverse. And for those of you that don't know, between Manta Network and Ultiverse, we recently partnered and launched a new zkSBT specifically for Ultiverse community. And so that's something that we'll be discussing a bit today and getting more in tune with understanding everything that's going on, all the updates in the Ultiverse universe. So, with that being said, we'll just go ahead and get started. We've got two guests here. So, maybe we can start with a brief introduction as well as just an introduction into Ultiverse. Either Jimbo or Moonlight.
Yes,
Take
good
it away.
morning, GM. Hey,
GM.
good morning, GM everyone. This is Jimbo, I'm the co-founder of Ultiverse. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Jimbo. Okay, yeah, I guess maybe it's just me and you.
Success? No, so to go April, the
Yeah. Oh,
plus the
Yeah,
Moonlight,
I'm
right?
also I'm also
Meta
here.
Meta
Yeah,
Merge.
oh, gotcha. Yeah. Moonlight, do you mind giving yourself a brief intro as well?
sure. Hello, GM everyone. This is Moonlight, and I'm from Ultiverse. The head of community. We also have our metaverse up to stage. We will bring other accounts up too, and we have April in the audience. Do you mind to bring her up as well? Thank you.
Yeah, I just invited April 1st as a speaker, and then you mentioned you've got a few other projects that you want to bring up here as a speaker as well. So just make sure they, request to speak, and I can bring them over.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. April 1st, would you mind also introducing yourself?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me here today. This is April. I'm on behalf of MetaMerge as the head of business development. And nice to meet you guys.
Awesome, cool. Nice to meet you all. Cool pseudonyms everywhere. It seems like the MetaMerge team is definitely very immersed in alternate identities. But let's go ahead and let's get started. So first and foremost, right, for everyone here that isn't familiar with Manta Network, we are the fastest ZK Layer 1 protocol in the ecosystem right now. And we are specifically focused on trustless private identity. What that means is essentially being able to verify your actual on chain identity or attributes about yourself without revealing any information, such as you would when you connect your wallet, right? So when you go to an app and you connect your wallet, that app sees information such as how much cryptocurrency you have, how many NFTs you own, what your trade history has been, what your overall on chain transaction history looks like, right? And so those are all private information, or should be private information, we believe, that you don't necessarily have to expose every time you just want to verify some aspect of your identity. And so, as a solution to that, one of the things that we recently launched is the zkSBT through our platform, the MPO, which stands for NFT Private Offerings. So, the zkSBT allows users to verify that they own a particular SBT or NFT or have done something on chain without revealing their wallet address, without revealing the contents inside their wallet. And so that's something that we recently launched with Ultiverse as well. And we'll go into it a little bit, but as part of the partnership with Ultiverse and the zkSBT launch, we launched what the zkSBT that we refer to as ZK Guardians, and there's some requirements in order to launch that, or in order to mint a zkSBT. Specifically holding an NFT either in MetaMerge or ElectricSheep or Ultiverse Moonlight. And so, maybe from the Ultiverse team, we could go through and learn more about exactly what those projects are and, how a user could go about acquiring these NFTs.
Yeah, Jimmy, would you like to starting from the ElectricSheep and the piece? Thank you.
Sure. So, I mean, zero knowledge has been the hot topic since East Denver. And that's when I met the founder of Manta, Victor. As a boy brother, we have a great dialogue back then. I'm so glad we had this cooperation come true. It is awesome. And Ultiverse is building the metaverse, trying to utilize the MetaFi through a range of on-chain games, dApps, and social medias. And Electric Ship is our Genesis collection, and that's sort of representable how we started the journey since last July. Um, we have Meta Merge but also MetaGF as two significant Ultiverse SDK in a way to present a different aspect of Ultiverse. And people can have the NFT not just as a social identity, but also as an entry of Ultiverse's MetaFi ecosystem. So I think this is a great way to connect the two projects in a way that we sort of as an entry for people who don't know Manta network before, to start with a very, actually it's a lower entries compared to other options to enter the zk network. And also for us, people who own our NFTs, who haven't really knowing zero knowledge before, this is also another way to understand, to learn what's coming next. So I'm so happy this is a start the cooperation. I believe there's more coming in the future.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And Jimbo, you were at ZK Day at East Denver. Is that where you met Victor?
Yes, that's why I met Victor. And he's so he's bringing his dog everywhere, and that is kind of a special people. It's so easy to identify her. But the ZK has been one of these topics that across the whole East Denver, people really talking about ZK during the event. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. The ZK Day was hosted, or one of our ZK Days was hosted at East Denver. We'll actually be hosting one in Paris as well for EthCC, but ZK Day at East Denver was a one-day event. Over 3,500 people attended in person. So that's quite crowded, but indicated a high level of interest in zero knowledge in general. And I believe it was the largest side event apart from East Denver itself. Um, so definitely got a lot of attendance, and we'll be also hosting one at ECC. So you guys, welcome to join as well. We invite you there, and for anyone in the crowd that will be at ECC as well, please also stop by and say hi. Yeah, so we got a quick intro into the different projects that you guys are working on. Can you give us a little bit more detail about how community members, how users can go about minting these NFTs?
Of course. Maybe we can go to April in terms of our MetaMerge. I think this is most active members. Actually, yes, it's the most active choice to mint the ZK right now.
Okay, and what was the question? How to mint our NFTs?
Exactly. Yep.
We have already launched our NFT a couple days ago, couple weeks, I guess. Now people can go to secondary markets to grab our NFTs like OpenSea or Elements, that kind of platform. But you need a BNB wallet to do that. But I guess people still don't know what MetaMerge is about, right? I might need to do a short introduction about it.
Yeah, feel free to. I think Jimbo went over on a high level, but if you have any additional details, please feel free to add.
Okay, Jimmy. So I'm gonna introduce a bit about what MetaMerge is first. MetaMerge is a universe combining AIGC, NFTs, DeFi, and gaming. As you guys can see on our Twitter page, and in the speaker's place, that is our official Twitter account. People are feel free to go into that to see more details. We state that collect AIGC pets with unique behavior and personality, adapting to your gaming style for an individualized experience. So generally, we invite the community to collaborate with us in developing the AIGC experiences. The most important thing is that MetaMerge generates exceptional and commanding paths for NFT holders. So all the communities can actively participate in shaping their path's evolution. And all attendants can win tons of benefits or prize, that kind of things, as long as you start playing with them. That's pretty much. Our game is going to be like Pokemon Go's, but better than that. We have a lot of monsters.
Nice. Yeah, I remember last time we also held a Twitter space in more of like a group setting, and we had talked a little bit about this, and I had expressed how big of a Pokemon fan I was and still am to some extent. So really looking forward to trying out the game. Apart from the secondary market, so right now users aren't really able to mint, correct? They if they are interested in holding an NFT, then they have to go in and purchase it through a secondary market.
Yes, my internets are really bad today, so your voice is a little bit breaking up. I can't hear you clearly. So could you please just repeat the question? I lost it.
Oh, yeah. The question was, are there other ways that users can obtain any NFTs from Moonlight or MetaMerge or ElectricSheep other than secondary markets?
Okay, other ways to get NFTs, right? Yeah, of course. Firstly, we have recent events that people can join before we launch the game. The first one is called the Box of Fate. It's open to everyone. Users can open Box of Fate on a daily basis. We post a link on our official website. People can quickly get into it just on the top, which means you can open a box once a day, and you will receive rewards such as coins, experiences, capture boxes, or pet eggs. This will help every participant receive more benefits before we launch. And I guess gathering instruments is crucial for every game player. I do believe that. So you guys can do it right now. The more you get, the better gaming experience you will have. It's for free right now. And once you open a week 7 times, you will get a pet X. The X will become one of our pets in the game in the future.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, I heard that it's free and it'll improve your gaming experience. So, I don't see why not. So, definitely seems like there's a lot of other opportunities to mint as well. Jimbo, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I just feel like open the mic so that I can join the conversation
Oh,
anytime.
yeah. Let's do it. Yeah, sounds good. So actually talking about joining the conversation, maybe this question you could help answer a little bit more. So, with this partnership on the zkSBT side, I'm curious to know, like, why did Ultiverse decide to launch a zkSBT?
So I think one of the key goal for us is we try to lower the entrance and the barriers of entrance for all the Web2 users across different perspectives. Because at the beginning, as a gaming platform, we are building our own AAA games on Unreal Engine, which is costly and it took a while for people to actually download the game to play with it. And that's why we introduced Ultiverse SDK as an alternative way to use mobile game as an entrance that everyone can easily to download and play anytime. I think that's kind of the same goal with Manta in a way that we're trying to introduce more people in a more user-friendly base. And things MetaMerge is our first SDK game. I mean, not SDK game. I mean, the first SDK game that will start doing this conversion from the Web2 gamers. I feel like this is a natural align in terms of the vision between Ultiverse and Manta, and people will have this need for the better DID solutions, and there's pretty much a no-brainer to me to really start a collaboration, not just from our side, but also from the Manta side, whenever we have a mutual users in terms of who want to have a safe and accessibility option to explore their journey on Web3.
Got it. Thanks for that explanation, Jimbo. I think that makes perfect sense, especially as decentralized identity, as well as user access to applications, right? Everyone wants as frictionless of an experience as possible. I think that would be exploring sort of that Web3 journey and going into the Ultiverse space. Would love to also understand a little bit more about the MetaGF. I think you guys had alluded to that, and I've heard it referred to as Moonlight before, but would love to learn more. So maybe Moonlight, you can talk a little bit about it.
Sure, I love to. Yes, MetaGF, or yeah, she's also called as Ultiverse Moonlight, is a 3D avatar, and she's a collection of 3D avatar NFTs. Also, it's a dynamic NFT that's developed by our Ultiverse team, and she was born in a very unique, with a very unique personality and talent as well. And actually, everyone could already started to interact with your Moonlight NFT by going to our official website, moonlight.ultiverse.io, and then you can connect your wallet. That's a D app, and then you can chat with her. You can dress her up. You can send her presents like chocolates or roses or perfumes. Yeah, different presents every day to help her to grow or to upgrade to the next level, and then you can unlock more functions, which I think it's amazing. Also, our players can receive so is a kind of like our rewards for our players, and in the future could be swapped to our Ultiverse tokens as well. And highly recommend everyone to give it a try. We actually have our MetaGF Twitter handle over here in the audience. Yeah, for some reasons I think she cannot join us on the stage today because Twitter space sometimes rock, but that's fine. And we do hope that everyone could take a look. Yeah, if you go to our actually go to hopefully you can see her in the audience, or go to my profile. I actually listed all of our Ultiverse ecosystem projects to my profile as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I believe that we tried to get MetaGF onto this space a couple of times, but unfortunately, the account is just not showing up when the request to speak is triggered. So, for everyone who is interested in learning more about MetaGF, I think that the easiest way right now is probably, instead of digging through 1,500 attendees to find the account, just click on Moonlight's name, and you've got the tags right there. Cool. Yeah. So, apart from the zkSBT launch, right, and providing that sort of accessibility, is there anything else that users can look forward to with their zkSBTs on Ultiverse, Jimbo?
Well, Ultiverse is a platform, right? So we are trying to provide users different ways to participate. Well, right now we have a wide range of games already, and we have our mission runners in a way that we can distribute mission with rewards. But in the future, definitely we will have more stuff coming out. Ultimately, we're trying to create a world like oysters in the Ready Player One with our communities. So the privacy will play a key part. Is even more important in the future since we have more dApps coming in terms of connect the dots, connect the different user base. So, but the user education to me is always important, and it's very important first step. So right now, Manta provide this one of the best solution for as an entry level. I like people to understand how it works out, right? So I think the first step, we had the first step, and in the future, when we have more product coming out, there will be a natural sort of integration with the Manta. So yeah, I think playing games is always something we believe is the best entrance for the Web2 users to learn how they can be part of the Web3 games or Web3 journeys. Again, I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I think that's a very important way to start.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, Ultiverse is a platform. We can definitely see that with, the three projects we've already talked about today. And I'm curious, Jimbo, do you have actually, maybe we can go around. Do you guys have a favorite? I mean, which one do you see yourself probably using the most? ElectricSheep, MetaMerge, or MetaGF?
For myself, or you mean like in general as a recommendation or alpha?
For yourself, and if there's any alpha, feel free to drop it.
Yeah, I think there are so many new narratives lately in terms of NFT collections, right? Well, at the beginning, since last year, we start our journey as finding our own digital identity. We own our NFT, we change it to our profile pictures, and now people are talking about IP rights. We do actually give users, I mean, not us, but you can see a lot of great project in the market right now. We have this IP authorization, we have toys, and we have more membership, that kind of perspective coming out. So to us, Ultiverse as a platform, we have our own identity, we have our own dynamic NFT as a way to interact, to play with, and we have the Game 5 as a SDK, sort of easier, lower entries to enter the ecosystem. But what we see is that in terms of business wise, we are trying to build a closed loop business cycle that, even though I heard a lot of podcasts, people not talk about sustainability in an NFT world, but we do aiming to create a sustainable business model so that we will continually grow in an organic way, not just in terms of our NFT collection holders, but in terms of audience with the ecosystem in general, in a way that our content can create a lot of audience, for example, our media matrix, and then we have our tools to convert traffic into the social interactions or into the participation with our products, so that this closed cycle will generate not just revenue, also traffic, and also influence across the whole ecosystem. We have a great partnership with other Web2 projects and some brands as well. And as a metaverse, I think we can amplify the sort of exposures. And the way we build our ecosystem also help the Web2 games to really find a durable way to access Web3. And as our NFT holders, we are trying our best to connect their own sort of interest with our business. So in that way that we're telling a story, not just a story about the background of Ultiverse, the story about the human dreams about ElectricSheep, the cyberpunk style story, but also we're trying to benefit our holders from our business side. So we're building a bridge to connect the Web2 world to Web3 world in our own way. So I'm very looking forward to tell you more next week on our town hall, because we have this regular town hall coming out very soon. I'd rather leave some of this sort of alpha to them, but right now I'm trying to. What I can tell is we are building the companies that will sustain in a way that we have close business cycle, and do pay attention to us. We haven't leak too much. We haven't been very active in general on social media. On one hand, we have a lot of building ongoing. We have a lot of broad project, simultaneously to make sure the status on right on track. On the other hand, we're doing this upgrades in terms of our brands, in terms of our profile picture. It's a very obvious way for people to know us. So yes, we will have more cooperation with a great partner like Manta in the future, and but do pay attention to us, not just Ultiverse in general. We have great platform in Ultiverse Live, which is hosted by Moonlight, has been the number one. I think it's number one or the top 3 in the last 8 months. And MetaGF is the first game, and then we will see more coming.
Nice. Okay, thanks for that. And there's so much information to unpack from what you just said. One thing that I did hear though, one of the previous sort of responses that you gave, you were talking about future sort of games and things that you guys are building in house with Unreal Engine. And so from that perspective, I thought that most if not all of your apps in the future connected to the Ultiverse platform would be developed in house. But you also kind of mentioned, introducing Web 2 games to the Web 3 space. And so I'm curious to know, are you guys, as part of the Ultiverse platform, also connecting with games outside of what you build yourselves?
Yes, absolutely. MetaMerge is again not built by ourselves, but from our great partners. We're helping them to convert the way they play on the Web 2 to the way people have this sort of a just habit on Web 3. And
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
that's the first one we launched, and that's why I'm keep talking about the Web 2 games, because Web 3 game is tricky, right? On one hand, we do need some sort of a grand launch that people to attract the attention from people. On the other hand, I think the trend of games is to combine with social. And yes, on Web3, we need to combine with the incentive. So for us, we are providing a platform that allowing users to actually interact with each others. And most importantly, we do aware that sometimes the life cycle for Web3 game maybe couldn't last for so long. So what we're doing is we're trying our best to sort of extend the life cycle by introduce more functions in terms of interaction in social. And also we're trying to allow users to inherit the asset they earn from one game to the upcoming next game that we introduce on our platform in a way that they won't feel, okay, I play this game, I spend this money, and I earn this asset and this reward, but I cannot sort of bring this to the next. We're trying to connect that sort of issues we have on Web3 games so that people will sort of have more, they're more willing to spend their time with us as a platform. So yeah, I mean, since the first game is still ongoing, I would rather keep the expectation low. But when people really experiment, we try the games with us and really having some good time with some good friends, and I think that's a better way to introduce, better way to let people. But seeing is a believing instead of I'm telling the story, right? But yes, ultimately the goal is we have to shorten the producing process because it took took forever to really build a game. We have our own ability to build games, but at the end of the day, it's really about quantity in a way that we need to have more people to play things. We have on the Web 2, the 72% of games are social casual games that we don't normally see, but you can, when you use TikTok and other platform, you can see a lot of games coming out every day as an advertisement. There's a traditional way for user acquisition. So we believe that's sort of the advantage for Web2 gaming studios that our partners have. They know how to acquire new users from the very traditional but with huge traffic on Web2, such like tools like TikTok and such else. But for us, by introduce more tools, we are seeking the conversion from this type of users. They actually see the apps, see the games from other platforms, which is not the same level of what we normally see right now on media in general on Web3. So I'm very looking forward to that.
Got it. Yeah, and thank you for that clarification. I think that was very helpful for me to understand, the relationship between MetaMerge as a separate independent project and Ultiverse as, still being that sort of platform. And I do think, yeah, like one of the biggest use cases in GameFi for NFTs is the self-sovereign ownership of your assets. Me not even being a very hardcore gamer, considering that my my days are pretty much working on Manta. But in the previous life when I did play video games, yeah, I think like a lot of these assets were very hard to earn, and then once you have them and you complete a game, you complete it, or it goes offline, as in the example of like an MMORPG like Maple Story, right? Like where do the assets go? It's like all your hard work just kind of disappears with it. And so I am really looking forward to the whole sort of self-sovereign ownership of these assets and the transferability across different platforms. And I think that definitely goes towards the sort of longevity thesis that you were describing about the gaming life cycle, or a game's life cycle. So it's very cool what you guys are doing. And I know you want to save some alpha for your own sort of town halls, but at a very high level, could you tell us where do you think Ultiverse is going to be 5 years from now?
Well, that's even higher level question, right? To be honest, first of all, we had to stay because we are at day one. Since day one, we're trying to build a platform that has the ability to grow organically, and that's why we are not building just one NFT project in a way that we keep telling the story that we provide utilities and we'll have future utilities that you have some agile whatsoever. But we see the necessity to have this sort of closed business loop so that we have media matrix, and we will have more incentive for our content creators. And also we have these tools, right, to convert the traffic, as I mentioned earlier. And we have different NFT collection as expansion for the ecosystem. So 5 years from now, I guess the ultimate universe, the story we are telling, will expand in a way that people will really have a lot of fun with us. Because ultimately, I think Web3 is more than incentive driven, but people are having fun. They can find their own value in a way that mirror their sort of general daily life. So the more we survive from the market, I think there are more products we will introduce in a way that people don't need to learn how to do it. It's just part of their daily life. In a way, they somehow connect with authors. For example, they can enjoy the favorite theme from us, just like how they use TikTok and other apps daily. They will just play this sort of mission every day as a habit, as a way that they start the day. So 5 years from now, we hope our holders, especially our Genesis MT members, will really be part of the ecosystem. They will gain the growth from the platform. I think that's all it matters as a Web3 project, right? As we grow, and the dividends will kind of go back to our holders. And the more we are influenced in general, and the more the holders will gain from that. So 5 years is a long time, in crypto. Actually, 6 months is a long time in crypto as well. So I can't tell what we look like. I can't tell the clear picture where we are, but what I can tell is that as a metaverse platform, we will more integrate in our daily life, and that's our goal. And so that this model will hopefully make Web3 more accessible, make Web3 as a part of the daily life for especially the new generation. Right? 5 years from now, I can see, I'm talking about high school or junior high school kids from right now, right? They will be like entering college life. So yeah, we're very excited to explore what's the next thing coming out. So I guess what we can do is keep on track of the trending things. I guess we will grow with the Manta network, right?
Yeah, sounds good. I think, like it's interesting that you also mentioned TikTok, because when you mentioned them, I think, one thing clicked for, what we really all have in common here between TikTok and Ultiverse, based on how you've been, talking about Ultiverse and, Manta Network and our zkSBTs. And that sort of common theme is just this sort of dead simple user experience where, like, you're able to just connect and start using without having to think. I think that's how you kind of described it, Jim Bolt, right? Like, I don't think people give enough credit to just how dead simple TikTok is, right? Like, you you only do one thing the entire time and you get to experience everything, and that one thing is just moving your thumb up and down. Right? You move your thumb
Yeah.
up and down, you experience everything on TikTok. With Manta's zkSBTs, right? Like, once you mint it, you never have to connect a Manta wallet to an application. You never have to actually connect any sort of zkSBT credentials. We have proof keys so that you're able to start verifying without having to go through any additional steps. And I'm sure that Ultiverse is working on sort of user experience things in a similar vein. And so, like, when it comes to acquisition, when it comes to adoption, right? Like, everyone talks about it, but ultimately it boils down to the user experience. It boils down to how many clicks someone needs to do, how many actions they need to take in order to get what they want. And if it's too many, yeah, it's tricky. And also, like, Jimbo, you guys are building you mentioned a triple A game in Unreal Engine, and you were talking about production time, development time. I'm not Obviously, I don't have any experience in game development, but from what I've heard through my game developer friends is that these types of games take a really, really long time to build, approximately like 3 to 5 years. Is that sort of your timeline as well, or when do you anticipate a sneak peek of this?
Well, your friends, they're right. It takes a long time. But the benefit of Web3 is that we can sort of build with the communities in a way that the expectation is lie on the completion of the game. For example, when we start this journey, people expect we'll have this game, right? And then you can see the market change. The game sometimes is tricky in a way that what happened if the game is not that popular, and what happened if the game is good but we don't have that many players right now, and what happened this is a very high entry level of games that the market is not ready. So I think the time frame will really depending on two parts. One is the market condition, whether we are ready for AAA games right now. Also, it also depends on what's the best priority to as a platform that onboard more users. And yeah, I guess right now we really believe that mobile will be the first step, because onboarding new users, just like Manta, it's not just about um, giving them the experiment to play with, right? But also that plays another role as education. The easier it is, the better education people will have. It's a step-by-step stuff, right? So we think the focus right now will be really on two sides. One is play the better role as onboarding new users. Another side is how we can benefit our users and as a growth of the platform.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It would be scary to build something for 5 years, and then once you launch it, the world has already moved on. But
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? Also, you see, it's scary from that side, right? But also scary that this is people are different expectation, right? So as NFT's project, we start our journey here as NFT project. We can have this sort of false expectation that they're well, although we expect it's not an investment in general, but people will see NFT as an investment, right? So the expectation that whether your investment will rely on one game will be very tricky. We're trying to sort of direct to the expectation that people will gain the benefit as the platform grows, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, so actually, yeah, I think like, it's the risk that that you bring up, that I think is interesting because it is pretty common in not just the Web 2 space, but in a lot of different industries as well, right? Like, and the problems are, the risks over time are different in some ways. One of the sort of thoughts I have is with pharmaceutical and drug research, right? A lot of pharmaceutical companies, when they come into the space, I mean, they're not getting feedback loops from their clients, right? You're not just sending out experimental drugs for people to try out in mass. And so it's a lot of development, it's a lot of research over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and then at the end of the day, the drug may not even work. Um, and so, I don't mean to, distract people with the pharmaceutical industry, but I think like one of the really beautiful things about Web3, and I think what you guys are already doing over at Ultiverse, is that you're able to get a feedback loop going even before things are releasing, and things can be more organic and developed in a more agile manner than what we see in traditional spaces. So it's cool that you guys mentioned it and are taking advantage of that. I think maybe we can kind of conclude this Twitter space with any sort of additional information that you guys would like to share with the listeners here.
Yeah, I mean, I love your example in terms of the drug industry. We do have this sort of alpha test, alpha launch on January, in terms of the terminal city we had, and we also had this event with BNB Chance called Pink Days. I think it's March. Time just runs so fast. That allowing people to join the metaverse to see what it feels like inside the world, right? And we also kind of build sort of the first commercialized metaverse example in a way that we are not just let people to play around inside, but create some boots for our partners in a way can sort of amplify the exposure. And we create some games with incentive driven sort of mechanics and allowing people to know their project better. So that's how we do. We just create things step by step, so that people can be part of it and we can have the feedback, as you mentioned. That's a great example in the pharmacy industry, so that we can continually keep growth with the feedback, in a way that this is on track, not falling behind. But yeah, I think you're saying we have this conclusion, right? So the conclusion is that we at the exploration between Manta and Ultiverse is a very important first step. Everything is hard at the beginning. Since we start this journey, I'm very excited to see what's coming next.
Yeah, same. I think despite the fact that we're building different sort of products and going after different missions, and at the end of the day, I think we found a lot of similarities in how we build and how we approach, based on today's discussion. So really looking forward to the continued collaboration, and thank you guys very much for your time on the Twitter space today. And thank you everyone for joining, and we will talk to everyone later.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Next time.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.